Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Machine Expert HVAC. I'm your host, Leandro Mala, and in this video what we're gonna see are the different POUs that we have in the software. So let's go to the presentation. So what we're gonna see are the POUs. POUs stand for Program Organization Unit, and we have three different types. So as you can see here, we just put the there we go. So in the software of the HVAC software, we have three different POUs: program, function block, and function. Okay, here you can see an example of the difference between function block and function. So if I just put myself a little bit down, oops, or there, good. So basically the functions, okay, allows you to, based on what you have in the input, get an output, and that's it, and it's only for that specific cycle of the PLC. The function block allows you to have like an instance or an internal database that can have history of the previous scan that you have. Okay, so in this case you have a timer, on, and then you have below the add, just to addition for arithmetic stuff. So here, based on the inputs that you have, okay, you get a result. Simple, this is just a function. And then we got the function block that, based on the input that we got, okay, all the stuff in the input and the timer that we have, the preset, we get a response, okay, and this instance in the top indicates that it's going to be a function block. So we're going to cover later how to create and how to work, but this is just to have an idea. And then we have the program that is the place or the POU where we are going to program or make our code, and inside we can have function blocks or functions. Then in this language, we have 5 different languages. Okay, so I'm going to put myself a little bit down here. There we go. I'm going to move this on the other side. So, as I mentioned, 5 different languages. We have instruction list, function block diagram, ladder, structure test, and sequential function chart. As you can see here below, there are some description about those languages. The ladder, which is the standard one, we have contact and coils, and we also have the possibility to add a function block or a function in there in order to make our logic. Then we have the function block diagram, okay, similar to the ladder, but we have in a different view the things. Then we have the structure test, similar to C. Okay, it doesn't mean the syntax are the same, but the logic of how to see the things are the same. And then we have instruction list. This one is I never use it. I remember working with pigs, probably working on that one, but not anymore. And then we have the sequential function chart. As you can see here, you can see the states, different states, and depending on the condition that we have, we can go to a different steps. So basically, these are the different POUs languages that we have. It doesn't matter if it's a program, function, or function block, we can use this. I'm not 100% sure on this one, but we can use the rest of them. So how we can create a POU. So basically, after we have created our program and defined some of the variables, that we're going to cover that later, this is what we need to do. So we're going to create just a new project. So it's going to be training M172, in this case, the PLC. I'm going to select this one. Just wait for it. So we have already seen the different tabs. Now we're going to the programming. The configuration, there is a lot of things, but I'm going to cover that later. So programming, here we just need to go to the project view, right click, add, and here we have the 3 different POUs: program, function block, and function. Depending on the selection, we have different things. So in my case, I'm going to use the program. I'm going to focus on that so we can cover later the function blocks and functions. So new program. Here, once you open this, you should be able to select which is the language that we want to use here. So in my case, I'm going to use, I don't know, function block. There. So here in this part, we just need to name testing. And something important here is the task. The POUs, as defined as a program, needs to run in a specific task, otherwise it will not be executed. So here I'm going to use time. Okay, and we got this blank. We have a rank and we can create different networks, new networks, top, bottom, but this part I'm going to cover later. I just want to show you how to create a POU, different POU. The same can be applied for function block. Okay, as you can see here, there is no task because it is not linked to a task. The same can be applied with a function. It's not linked to a task. It needs to be called inside a POU program. So once you create this, then you should be able to see different options in the toolbars that allow you to create your own code. Now, as I call this POU program in the project, okay, and I create it, I assign this to a time task, as you can see over here. If I don't want it to be here, I just remove it and then just call it later. Let me just check if drag and drop works. Yes, drag and drop works. So this is another way to do it. Otherwise, you just remove the task, the POU add program, and here from the list, you should be able to see the POUs that you have. And now, if you can see here, this POU, if I delete it from the call, you can see here, probably if I, let's see, magnifier, magnifier, you can see in there that you have like a small question mark. So it means that you have a POU created, but it's not called in any task. So I'm going to close this part. Now, if we continue with the presentation, we already seen this part, how to create it. Okay, it's very simple, easy. So now, depending on the POU selected, okay, the icon that you have next to the name change. Okay, if you can see over here, just hide myself a little bit. There we go. So if it's instruction list, you can see all this text with separated with a column here. Then if it's function block, you can see there are some blocks linking together. If it's ladder, you can see the contacts. If it's structure text, you just see some text over there. Okay, probably this is too big, but it's gonna you will see the difference. And then the sequential, you can see like a range, like a tree going down the ranges. So this is the idea. So if we go back here, you can see that I have the blocks. Now if I create new program, let's structure test, okay, you can see that I have a question mark. Now I'm going to drag and drop it over here. You can see they have some text over there. So we change just to have a visual way to identify which is the language inside the POU. Now, this is one of the good questions. Which language is the better? So it will depend on what you're accounting for, because it will depend on what you're doing or how you do it. It's going to be much better. So for example, if I need to create, for example, the alarms, the execution of alarms, I usually work on a POU, separate POU for the execution of alarms. And I usually use the ladder so I can easily see why it's not executed when it's alarms. Or if I need to make some kind of condition and long conditions, okay, or I need to make a mathematical equation or something like that, I use text. Nowadays it's more often to use that I use text in everything, but it's always know to be flexible and work in different languages. Then in function block FBD, that is a B, it is used, or if it's useful to have a different way to show the different conditions, okay, how it works. is quite easy to follow and track the logic. And usually I create the function block and text and then adjust using the function or the function block in a graphical way instead of see everything in text. So that is one way. So for me, there is no one specific best language. You just make a combination of everything and use the one that fits for you. That's basically my answer. No real answer, but that is my answer. So we have seen how to create a POU. I know that there isn't too much in there, but we are going to focus that later. How we can add different variables, how we can add the variables from the outside, from the IOs, how to create internal variables and everything. But I just want to show you how to create a POU, that it can be program, function, or function block. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.